Hello and welcome to Brimwood Farm. So let's talk making money on your farm. Most of us have animals and grow plants because we love to do it, but we also need to make some money from our businesses. I am by no means an expert in this because I'm only just starting out, but I wanted to talk to you about the income streams that I'm going to be using this year in 2023. So as I happen to be amongst the pheasants, let's talk about the first income stream, and that is hatching eggs. I adore birds and I always have, and one thing I really wanted to do here at Brimwood Farm was to sell high quality, high fertility hatching eggs. And so over the past couple of years I've built up my variety of pheasants, and I've got Reeves pheasants, I've got some grey peacock pheasants, I've got silvers, Goldens, and Lady Amhersts, and all of these eggs I'll be selling later in the year. I did actually put some up for pre-order, thank you very much, they've all sold out, and I will get back to your emails if you're emailing me about it. As well as the pheasants, I also do silver appleyards, Muscovy ducks, some khaki Campbells, and I also do some purebred Ixworth rare breed chickens, and I hope to do some modern game and old English game eggs later this year when I've just checked their fertility. And hatching eggs is quite a nice product to do because it means that I can make money and I can put them online and I can sell them further than just the local area because I can post them. Obviously this does restrict me to just the UK, but it does mean that I can make money from people. If you live in Scotland or Lancashire or Cornwall, I can still send you hatching eggs. And actually the price of pheasant eggs in particular has gone through the roof. So actually it's a nice little earner to help pay for their food and some for the business. The next income stream that I'm hoping to utilise this year and bring in some money is through ecotourism. Now, as many of you know, we intend to rewild our entire 37 acres eventually and have basically like an animal safari. So we'll still run our livestock, but they'll be essentially wild in the 37 acres. But until we get to that point, we're still lucky to have some really amazing wildlife, from marsh harriers to yellowhammer finches and even some turtle doves. Down in the pit, I'm very lucky to have a lovely badger set, which is also shared by some foxes, and we've got several wildlife cameras down there that pick up both the badger and the fox activity, but also passing traffic from other deer and pheasants and muntjac and things like that. And this year I want to get a bit more hands-on and I guess professional about surveying the land. So every month I am taking and publishing a wildlife transect survey, and the results of that are published to Patreon. So if you're Patreon, you get to see all of those. We've also got our owl box up in this oak tree. And now, while it actually has never been used by owls, we do have a beautiful pair of resident jackdaws, and I love jackdaws. I think they're fascinating and beautiful birds. And this year I have installed a camera in that box, so hopefully we will see progression from them and see the chicks and the eggs hatch. But the main moneymaker, I hope, is the wildlife hide. So I made a video a couple of weeks back, and I'll put the description in the link below, about digging out this little wildlife pond, and it's simply to serve as a hub for wildlife. And next to it we're going to put a wildlife hide so that it can be hired out by photographers to come and take pictures of some of the beautiful wildlife. And as I mentioned, we do have that marsh harrier, and we have some rare small birds, turtle doves and woodcock and yellowhammers, and I'm hoping that I can attract them all into this site to feed and to drink from the watering hole, especially in the summer. And it will give photographers that opportunity to get up close and personal, and also have a site where they can purchase a slot to come to the bird hide with a relatively high probability they're going to see stuff, rather than just going off and not seeing anything at all. It's all a test. I don't know how it will work. There is another place doing this quite local to me. They're very well established and they charge a lot. I'm not going to charge anywhere near as much while I'm setting up, and I haven't even got the hide in yet, but I'm hoping that that can be combined with some other revenue streams this year to give a little bit of income, and actually that will hopefully feed then into directly, I can feed that cash directly into the wildlife aspect of the farm. I'm also very lucky that just next to this wildlife hideout, I've just actually been offered a grant of 1,000 trees to add to the woodland. They're going to be arriving in the next couple of weeks. So not only will we have this beautiful hide, hopefully, and all these animals will be able to really swell and add to the trees I previously put in with another 1,000. So I'm very excited about that. Next up, we have the main event, which is the market garden and flower farm. This year, for the first time, I am offering a CSA, so a community supported agricultural share, which is basically a veg box scheme. I did talk a little bit about it in a previous video. Again, I will drop that link in the description below so you can have a look at that video about how I'm setting up that CSA. And I'm really excited to say that I'm only doing very few shares this year because I don't want to overburden myself when I'm first starting to work it out. So I'm probably only doing 15 shares, but they've almost sold out already. And we're only just into February. So that has shown me that there is kind of, there's demand for the veg boxes and people want good food. And so with the veg box scheme, people will come to site on a Sunday, and I actually am going to have a small shop opening. So when people come to site, it will also be open to other people that want to pop along, and they can buy extras, so some eggs, some flowers, some extra veg. And I'm also I'm not making a massive business idea of this, but I will be selling a few chickens and poultry, and they'll be sort of in chicken coops and things around the area where the CSA is. So it's like a little pop-up shop just on a Sunday. In addition to the CSA, I'm also doing farmers markets, which I've been doing previously, but this year, whereas I've been doing some small local farmers markets before just to kind of build up my confidence, build up my brand, make sure I know how I'm growing, I'm branching out this year, going to some bigger markets, and I'm also doing a couple of double-day country fair events, which will not only be veg, but also be huge numbers of cut flowers and bouquets. Now, we're fairly early on in the year, so I've still got loads of time to grow it all, but I think that's going to be my major income stream this year, which will be from the CSA, the upselling from the CSA, and the farmers markets. Something else that I'm continuing to do this year is the campsite. Now, I'm not afraid to admit that when I first moved here, I loved the land, I wanted to keep it to myself, and I didn't really want to do a campsite and have other people on my land. However, that quickly changed when I realised I needed to make some money. And actually, I'm so glad that I have changed my mind and that I was wrong, because in general, the campsite has been wonderful and the people coming to the campsite have been very, very nice because they want to do wild camping. They're kind of on that wavelength of leave no trace. And on the whole, it's been a great experience. Now, the campsite is up on this field and there's a big oak tree right in the middle, and campers have the opportunity to camp at each end of the field wherever they want. I don't have set plots, they just pull up and park and set up. Now, I'm changing things up a little bit this year in that I'm actually going to put a little parking area down the bottom of the field because it should be wild camping and it should look lovely. When we were full last year, it looked like a car park and I didn't like it at all. So what I'm going to do this year is people can drive up to their tents to set up, but for the most part I'm going to have people park down at the bottom of the field just so the area is kept nicer, looks nicer, and doesn't have sort of cars driving around when there's small kids and dogs. The other thing is, this coming week something very exciting is happening and the well is starting to be dug. And my idea because at the moment my campers don't get any water facilities. They have a couple of portaloos on site and they get a 5-litre bottle of water when they arrive, but nothing else. This year I should be able to offer water, and what I'm thinking is the borehole and the shed for it is going just through this little ditch, and I'm going to cut out a little hole in the hedge. I'm going to put a little walkway, a little bridge across the ditch, and then people can take their water vessels and their water rollers and stuff in there, fill up from the tap, and then go back to the campsite. So not only does it mean I can offer people water, but it means I can actually increase the price a little bit as well. So I'm hoping, again, this year we'll have lots of lovely campers coming to site, enjoying the wildlife, enjoying the farm, and helping boost business. Now, animals, on the whole, do not make vast amounts of money, but another business stream this year are the sheep. So I keep and run 2 flocks of sheep. The first are Norfolk Horns, which are a rare breed, and the second are Jacob sheep. Now, the Jacob sheep are purely here as a meat breed. I lamb them, I rear them, and then the ewes often get sold to other breeders or as pets, or go off as store lambs for meat. And that's because my pedigree, my Jacobs aren't actually pedigree, they were rescue sheep from a friend, so I've kind of got them because I like them, but they also do produce quite a nice meat lamb. And I'm hoping that not only will I be able to send them off to market this year, I'll be able to send some off to the abattoir and actually be able to sell some homegrown meat boxes to local customers, which will be fantastic. The Jacobs, on the other hand, are a super rare breed. They are all pedigree, and I am actually dabbling with the idea of taking some to shows this year. Now, shows don't make you any money, but they do improve your reputation if you start to win rosettes and things. So I'm going to take a couple to show, I think, and I rear these not only for me, but also for stud stock, so I can sell any of the really good pedigree lambs, ewes and rams, to other people that are trying to increase their rare breed Norfolk Horn sheep flock. Now, there isn't a vast amount of money in these sheeps. We're not going to be getting wow figures, because the wow figures at auction are normally for commercial rams, so Texels, Suffolks, things that people use in the commercial meat industry. With a rare breed, there's only a limited number of people that keep these flocks, so there is obviously kind of a ceiling price to what you can make. However, they should pay for themselves, and the meat that comes back should give me enough that I can then sell on to customers for meat boxes. And then there are the pigs. So the pigs are also another income stream, and these are going to be from growing weaners to go off as fatteners, growing pigs myself to take to the abattoir and then have meat boxes back so I can go to farmers markets and sell gammon, sausages, bacon, that sort of thing, and then also raising pedigree piglets to then sell. Now, large blacks have very specific types that they have to meet for the pedigree. So my sows, Margaret and Hyacinth, may have 10 piglets each, but of those 10 piglets, it's likely that only 2 or 3 will fit the body conformation and teat placements standard to be able to register. Now, those ones will be able to be registered, grown up and then sold as pedigree piglets, so I should make quite a bit of money from them. The rest, so say I've got 3 from each litter, the other 7 I will then go through and probably sell some off as store pigs to other people to raise, and then keep a few back to raise up for myself to sell, as I said, for meat boxes. And I suppose the overarching theme here is to be a one-stop shop, so people can come and get their vegetable CSA, they can pick up some flowers, they can pick up some eggs, and then there's also lamb and bacon, sausages, etc. are available for them too. Again, in the future, a long time away, but I am also hoping to do cattle at some point, so again that'll feed in to that whole sort of one-stop shop idea. So that's the plan for this year. There's a lot going on, but over the past couple of years I have already set up a lot of the infrastructure for the farm, so actually this year hopefully should be more focused on just growing and rearing and then selling, rather than putting in a lot of infrastructure into place. So that's my thoughts on the subject. Happy growing, happy rearing, and I shall see you next time.